This girl has been held in a psychiatric hospital for several days. She wants to leave, but she is not allowed. Hello everyone, Dr. Fox is with you, and today I will tell you about the movie Abnormal. Sawyer is an ordinary girl who works in a bank. The boss praises her for her success. She is one of the best employees, and the boss sends her on a business trip. After a hard day's work, the girl hung out at a bar and met a guy. She dragged him home. The guys wanted to have sex, but Sawyer suddenly started screaming. The fact is that she has serious mental problems. She always feels like someone is watching her. Sawyer googled the address of the psychiatric hospital and came to the session. She told about her problem, that she often changes phones, does not want to live, is afraid that she will be found. The doctor smiles sweetly and offers to sign some papers, claiming that this is a formality. The girl trusted him and signed it. Then a nurse enters and takes her to an unfamiliar room, takes her personal belongings out of her purse. It turned out that the girl signed a voluntary consent to hospitalization. She was tricked, and when she tried to object, it was already too late. After the examination, Sawyer is given a hospital gown and taken to the ward. The girl asked for permission to call. Strangely enough, she was allowed. Of course, she called the police, but it was a mistake. After all, every psych who thinks is healthy and calls the police station. The police do not accept such calls. Violet's neighbor came to Sawyer at night. She called the girl names and threatened her in every possible way. Sawyer tried to call for help, but another psycho got in her way. He wanted a big and pure love. The girl is banging on the door, screaming at the top of her voice that she can no longer be here. Paramedics came to the screams. Sawyer began to resist, but she was quickly subdued and given a sedative. During breakfast, a nurse came up to her and said that a doctor wanted to see her. The man said that you were aggressive yesterday. I think you should stay here longer. Sawyer is just in shock. During her lunch break, she met Nate. He said that people are not treated in this madhouse. Doctors are specifically looking for patients to make money on insurance. And people turn into vegetables. It really scared the girl, but there is no way out. No one will believe her because everyone thinks she's crazy. While taking the pills, Sawyer threw a tantrum. She thinks that an employee named George is her stalker who only wants to take advantage of her. The man is shocked by these words. He claims to be seeing Sawyer for the first time. Because Sawyer screamed so much, the patients looked at her as if she was abnormal. She even had to be given sedatives and medications again. The next day, Sawyer and Violet had another conflict. Violet thinks her heroine stole her cigarettes. Sawyer did not put up with this and hit the cheeky girl in the face. She was taken to the doctor again. The man said that this was another such prank. And you will find yourself in the basement, where he keeps particularly aggressive patients. While taking the pills, George tried to apologize, but Sawyer did not accept the apology. Then the man took out her mother's letter. She is just shocked that a madman has entered her house. And I rummaged through my personal belongings. The girl screamed about it, called him a murderer, but they did not believe her. Who would believe a man in a mental hospital? She was placed in a safe place and drugged with sedatives. When our heroine woke up, she asked Nate for the phone. She wants to call her mom, and in return she promised him sex. Of course, the guy gladly agrees. Sawyer calls her mom and tells her that she was placed in a psychiatric hospital against her will. She is treated with various medications. She is talking about the guy who's stalking her. The woman does not think long, throws everything and rushes to her daughter. Angela started screaming wildly at the employee, demanding to release her daughter. The woman went to the head doctor, but he said that Sawyer was ill. As a result, Angela was allowed to talk to her daughter for only 20 minutes. Her mother promised to take her away from here, hire the best lawyers, and asked her to wait a couple of hours. It did not give any results. The police said that there was no corpus delicti. The girl signed the papers voluntarily, which means that she confessed to the disease. Neither mother nor Sawyer can do anything. The girl is being held here as in a prison and is being treated with various drugs. By the way, George switched her medication. As a result, Sawyer developed a hellish psychosis. She screamed and smashed everything around. Because of this, she was bedridden. That evening, George comes to Julia's room. He introduced himself as an electrician, and what happened next is even scary to imagine. Sawyer is talking to Nate. She tells him an interesting story about her acquaintance with George. They met 2 years ago. The man began to show unhealthy sympathy. He sent her emails, called her, and once even broke into her house. Sawyer wrote a statement and deleted all social media. But, as we can see, it did not help. She even changed the city, but George found her here too. In the evening, the girl hid the pills under her pillow. She also found her mother's ring there. It turns out that George stole it. Sawyer calls his mother, but she does not answer. In the morning, the girl talks to Nate. He tries to support her, says you have 2 days left, do not hang up your nose. George saw the whole conversation. He's obviously up to something. And indeed, this psycho caught Nate in the toilet and started beating him up. Then he dragged him into the basement, tied him to a chair and passed an electric current. Nate did not come to lunch. That's why Violet came to Sawyer. For some reason, she decided that the girl had done something to him. The girls were taken to the department. And then Sawyer found Nate's phone. There was a creepy photo. The girl started screaming, but the paramedics gave her a morphine injection. And she fell asleep. A little later, George killed Ned. He gave him some kind of drug. Now he's going to visit Sawyer. In the room, this hypocrite blatantly lies about everything. That Angela gave the ring away herself. That he did not kill Ned. He's so white and fluffy. The girl does not believe it. She knew it was a blatant lie. Then she called George a jerk. He attacked her. But for some reason, he started crying and ran away in tears. A little later, a girl with a dog found Ned's body in the woods. The police arrived almost immediately and began an investigation. The next day, George brought Sawyer her favorite breakfast. She was surprised because no one was looking after her. They started a dialogue, and the guy admitted that he could not live without her. He offered to escape from here and start all over again. The girl started joking. She asked me to bring Violet here and have some fun with her. The man complied with the request. He wakes Violet up and takes her to Sawyer. Then he starts to pester. Sawyer asks to stop. Now she's hitting on Violet. The girl stealthily pulls out a blade and stabs the scoundrel. She managed to escape. But her friend was unlucky. The scoundrel took her life. The main character runs through the long corridors of the hospital and tries to find a way out. Some doors are closed, and this complicates everything. But, nevertheless, she still manages to hide behind the cistern. Unfortunately, the perpetrator turned out to be agile and hit her on the back of the head. Sawyer woke up in the trunk George was driving. She finds her mother's corpse in her bag. Her feelings are simply indescribable. She has lost the only person close to her. The girl jumps out of the car on the move and runs as fast as she can. At this point, it becomes clear from the news. In fact, Nate was just a journalist who had deliberately infiltrated the clinic. He was doing a report, and meanwhile an army of cops arrived at the hospital for the mentally ill. They have a warrant, which means that this place will close soon. The killer is chasing the girl. She still manages to escape, but she bumps into a tree and falls. George catches up with Sawyer and deprives her of the opportunity to move. The maniac began to drag her and knocked her to the ground. He talked about what kind of family they could have. The girl would have become a good mother, and they would have been fine. Sawyer stealthily grabs a shark tree branch and finally deals with this guy. Meanwhile, the police found Nate's notebook, and everything became clear. All those involved have been arrested, and now they just have to rot in prison for the rest of their lives. 6 months have passed, and Sawyer is starting a new life. One day, while having lunch with a friend, she noticed a man who looked like George. Did he really survive, or maybe Sawyer is just crazy? a woman who is still in the hospital and undergoing treatment. Thank you for watching. Like, dislike, everything is as usual. Don't forget to subscribe. See you soon.